What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing some PC building. I just got this case in from Phanteks. This is their Shift case, which is like a mini ITX tower case. We're actually going to be throwing some HTPC components in it today. I just want to kind of get a feel for building in this case and then let you guys know whether it sucks or not. So let's just kind of go over the parts that we're going to be throwing in this thing. First off, I am using my existing HTPC stuff with a few upgrades. So we've got a Pentium G3258 that is going in here. We've got this ASRock mini ITX. I think it's a B150 motherboard, something like that. The CPU cooler is not going to be on here. That is going bye-bye. I'm actually replacing that with a 120mm AIO, this one from Enermax here. This is the Liquimax 2, or however that's pronounced. That's going in there instead. I've also got a 120GB SSD here that we are throwing in here for the storage drive. I don't actually keep anything really locally on my HTPC, so that's why I've got such a small storage drive. So that's not an issue there. And since this is a small form factor build, I've actually got this FSP Dagger 600 watt SFX power supply that we are throwing in here, which is incredibly heavy right now, holding with just one hand. I don't know if you guys can see that shake it or not, but yeah, that's going in there. I've got an RX 580 somewhere that I'm actually going to be throwing in here as well. And you know, we just kind of want to get the build experience of building in this case. So it looks pretty nice just off first impressions, but we'll see, you know, basically how it is once I throw some parts into it.
This is a HomageBeats.
Look how tiny this power supply is. This is crazy. So I was actually going to install the power supply here and I ran into an issue. I don't know if you guys can see this, but the plug that actually goes into the power supply actually makes contact with the other end of the extension piece. So I can't really install the power supply like this, which is supposed to have the fan kind of facing towards the outside of the case that way. Yeah, it's not really gonna work. So I guess we have to flip it around maybe. So it's like this. But then it's intaking air from inside the case, which I didn't really want to do, but I guess I really don't have an option. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna call it a night. I've been working on this thing for way too damn long. And I actually ended up getting distracted partway through messing with this PS2 emulator. I was trying to play some Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero. Shout out to you guys if you know what that is. But yeah, it's just taking me way too long. So I'm gonna continue this thing tomorrow. So I will see you guys then. But for now, I am out. Alright guys, welcome back. I'm ready to get started on this thing again. I actually slept in a little bit too damn long, but whatever, we're gonna get working on this system again. Gonna tackle this power supply issue, man, because it's, well, let me just show you guys. It's looking a little sketchy still. So I ended up flipping the power supply here, but I don't really like how much pressure is being put on the cable there. It's like, yeah, it's kind of sketchy. I'm guessing whatever power supplies Phanteks tested, this FSP one was not one of them because the cables just run into each other. And flipping it the other way, like I mentioned before, I couldn't even plug it in. So it seems like this case would benefit maybe from having slotted holes like they have over here for the radiator, because it seems like if I can move this down maybe just slightly, like move it down here, then the cable would clear. Either that or they just need to have like some other more low profile type of cable, something. but this isn't really working. So I don't know, I may leave it. I'm sure it'll be fine, but like, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. I wonder if I can move the power supply maybe over here, which is where I was gonna put my radiator, but maybe if I put the radiator up front here and then move the power supply over a little bit, maybe that would work, but we'll see. Looks like I'm gonna have to mount my cooler down at the bottom because when I try to put in the graphics card, it's actually too wide. I don't know if you guys can really see that on camera, but yeah, it won't fit. So we're gonna have to move that down to the bottom and then try reinstalling the graphics card. 7 years later and it is finally done. This thing took forever, man. I had to like everything that you see here, I pretty much had to redo at least one time, but I finally got everything in here. So I guess the last thing to do is show you guys the, I don't know, montage or something like that. So yeah, let's do it. Alright guys, the build is done, and I have to say, I'm pretty satisfied with the result, although this build wasn't without its issues. The first issue that I had was dealing with the power supply. I'm using an FSP 600 watt SFX power supply. This is the Dagger model, and I had an issue where the socket, which kind of comes out in the middle on my power supply, actually interferes with the extension cable that is connected to the Shift case. So I had to actually flip the power supply around so that the fan is facing the inside of the case. And it's still a little bit sketchy as far as the extension cable goes, but I actually tested it out and it worked. It was just, you know, kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, and it slowed me down when I was actually building in this case. Another issue that I had is I actually had to move my 120 millimeter AIO here from the side here to the bottom because my graphics card here, which is an Asus Strix RX 580, it was actually too wide to fit in the case with the 120 AIO on the side here. Apparently you can actually run two of these at the same time. I don't know what kind of skinny ass card you're gonna have to be able to do that. Probably like a blower card, actually, I should say. But yeah, I actually had to move this down at the bottom here so that I would get enough clearance. You probably should run a blower style card in a case like this because the other two fans that I have are actually covered up behind the motherboard tray. So yeah, but whatever. This card is pretty efficient, so I think it'll be just fine there, but probably in the best case scenario, that's what you should do. So yeah, having to deal with the power supply and relocating the AIO were probably the main issues that I had, aside from cable routing, which once I got all the components in here, I was pretty much like, where the hell do the cables go? Turns out they actually end up being stored pretty much on this side of the panel and on this side. These are aluminum panels, by the way, so pretty solid. They actually get tucked in behind there on each side, although you'll probably need extensions for most cables to reach this end here. But that's where I stored everything. There are some that are stored behind this little tray here, like my USB cable, my ATX cable and stuff like that, which keeps them pretty clean. But despite the hiccups that I had, I would say it was actually worth it because I like the way this thing looks, man. It's pretty nice. You know, you got the aluminum panels on the front and rear here, tempered glass that goes on the side panels here, which I don't have on, obviously. I would say really the only issue that they need to resolve is with the power supplies. I think maybe having slotted holes for the power supply may give people a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to that extension cable interfering with the socket. Otherwise, I don't know, get rid of the extension cable, do something. They got to do something else other than the way they have this thing now. But that was really the only major issue. Obviously, I was able to put this somewhere else, so that's whatever, not a big deal. But yeah, for a small form factor build, which I don't normally build on this channel, I'm actually satisfied with it. I wouldn't mind having like a couple more of these. You know, if I had my storage game together and I was running like all SSDs, I wouldn't mind having like one of these for each of my systems and just having them sitting on the desk nice and clean like this. You can actually sit this horizontally as well if you wanted to put this at like your TV or your entertainment center or something like that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, anything else I really need to mention here? All right guys, sorry I gotta interrupt this video. I just wanted to kind of let you guys know I ran into another issue. I was trying to test this system once I put it together to get some temperature readings for you guys, and I noticed my gaming performance was absolutely terrible. Also, I was getting pretty distorted audio at times. I thought it was like a driver conflict issue, so I went in and like reinstalled drivers over and over again, thinking that was the issue. I was checking my hardware to make sure everything was plugged in correctly. I even went as far as like reinstalling Windows and even trying on Linux. And my poor performance and my audio issues pretty much carried over it both ways. So I'm pretty sure I have a PCIe riser cable issue. I don't know why it took me so long to finally think about this. That was like one of the last things that actually crossed my mind for some reason, but it is definitely looking like that is an issue. I ended up switching over to the integrated graphics on my motherboard and things went away, so I'm pretty sure that's a problem, which is unfortunate. So if you guys happen to have any issues like that, you'll probably have to pick up a replacement cable, or you will have to pick up an aftermarket one. So just keep that in mind. Poor performance or distorted audio, probably want to look at the riser cable. So that's all I wanted to add into this video. So yeah, back to the original. As far as cables go, your cable routing, I think probably to get the best results, you should have cable extensions for the CPU connector and the PCIe connector, so the EPS and the PCIe. That way you can actually route the cables through this side here and then kind of route them over. Otherwise, you're gonna have some of the cables exposed, or you're gonna have to run them across your motherboard, which isn't gonna look the best. Now, as far as why I chose these parts, I pretty much did it just, I don't know, because it's what I had lying around. I actually wanted to throw a Ryzen 3 build together in this case, but unfortunately I don't have a mini ITX Ryzen board available. Really the only reason I didn't do it, because I do have a 1300X that I actually wanted to throw in here. I also have a Pentium G4560, but I don't have a mini ITX board for that either. So this is kind of what I went with. Pentium G3258, RX 580, 600 watt FSP power supply, and a Intermax 120 millimeter AIO. Also got an ADATA 120 gigabyte SSD. I don't store a lot of things locally on this system. I have a remote location for all my media, so yeah, I probably do need something here as well though, so I can like install some games and stuff like that. But it's a pretty slick system. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. I'm gonna get on out of here. Like this video if you guys like this type of content. I will see you guys next time. See ya!